Welcome, Jaggers. I hope you're all doing good today. I'm Britney Cable.
I'm Sean Woobman.
And I'm his sister.
And I'm Ralph Jaguar. I know that you're all waiting for part 2 of our review of Batman, the Telltale series, but that will have to wait. Right now, there's a real topic that we need to discuss, and that is the War Machine trial. Now, you're watching part 2 of our review of the War Machine trial. Part 1 is on the Ralph Jaguar 1 channel, and the link to it is in the description section of this video. Before you watch this video, it's important that you watch part 1. So stop the video right here and go ahead and watch part 1.
Okay, now that you have watched part 1, this is part 2 of our review of the War Machine trial. Just to summarize what Cece, Rocky, and the Narutoes were discussing on the 102nd episode of the Reboot, MMA fighter John Koppenhaver, whose legal name is War Machine, stood trial for trying to murder his ex-girlfriend, porn star Christy Mack, and her friend, Corey Thomas. Of the 34 charges that he was charged with, War Machine was found guilty of 29 of them.
And I've got a lot to say about this, so much that I almost don't know where to start.
Just start at the beginning, Ralph.
Alright, back in 2014, I talked about this in episode 90 of the Reboot, and in that 2.5 years, a lot has happened, and a lot of new facts about this situation has come out. The whole trial was posted right here on YouTube.
So, everybody was able to watch it.
Oh yeah. Up until the trial, I didn't know that one of those charges was rape. According to the female DA and Christy Mack, when both War Machine and Christy Mack were laying in the bed, War Machine actually raped her.
Well, there were a lot of charges that he was being charged with, Ralph. It's hard to keep track of them all.
I knew that one of those charges was attempted rape when he invaded Christy's house, attacked her and Corey, and beat them down. And War Machine also used a knife when he was brutalizing Christy.
Allegedly.
Well, Lisa, he was convicted on that charge, I think.
No, Ralph. War Machine was not convicted on the 2 attempted murder charges. There was a mistrial on those.
Like I said, there were so many charges that they had him on.
And because there was so many charges, War Machine was looking at life in prison. The DEUX office was hoping to get the death penalty on John.
Well, there's still a possibility of it happening.
They may retry him on that again. We're talking about attempted murder on 2 counts. And what is the most someone usually gets if convicted on attempted murder?
20 to life, depending on the brutality and how close someone comes to killing another person.
And going by what Christy and Corey testified on the stand, that wasn't no simple beatdown. War Machine was trying to kill them.
John even said that he was going to kill Christy after a long time of a brutal beating, and John even used a knife.
Yeah, it was a horrible beating on both Christy Mack and Corey Thomas. When the pictures of Christy's and Corey's injuries as a result of the beating hit the internet, it sent shockwaves throughout social media and the media period. And because of that, it seems like everyone gravitated towards Christy Mack's side, and she got an awful lot of sympathy because of it.
And that's the bull-shit right there, Ralph. That's the whole basis of War Machine's defense team's defense. They claim that John was not going to get a fair trial. He's a victim of railroading, since he's an MMA fighter, and he has tattoos.
Well, Christy Mack is a porn star. Has tattoos. and has pet snakes. So, what's the difference?
That's the question that you need to pose to War Machine's defense team, if you actually want to call it that. I'll tell you right now, in my eyes, War Machine's defense team did a horrible job.
I have a question. How did those pictures of Christy's and Corey's hit the internet in the first place? Because whenever something like this happens to a regular person, that victim is brought to the hospital and examined. And yes, they do take pictures of the injuries. Then, they're turned into the police.
That is a mystery all in itself, Britney.
Well, you're the research guy, Ralph. That's something you got to look up.
Believe you me, I will. The female DA in this trial did an epic job, and I do mean epic. From the start, she got right and straight to the point. And when she did that, her claws really came out. And the female DA really went off on War Machine.
It's like she was fighting for women and taking a stand for them.
Oh yeah, I think she was.
And it also seems like they were trying to make an example out of War Machine, sending a message saying that guys can't do this to women and get away with it.
The female DA was a monster, Ralph. She was really out for blood. In that courtroom.
Now, people will have to ask, is this right? Taking someone who already has a bad history with the law and putting him on trial and making him out to be a monster and then crucifying him in public and on TV. Even, is that how we are going to make women feel safe? You know, Ralph, John Koppenhaver has done time in prison before. Twice.
Yeah, I know that, Sean. I did the research on this War Machine. But you want to talk about him being crucified and looking bad in the trial? You know Jaguars. I was neutral up until that rape part. It took 2.5 years for this trial to come. John's lawyers kept pushing it back, and pushing it back. You can only push it back for so long. Then War Machine turned down 2 plea deals, which led me to believe that he was actually looking for acquittal. And when the trial finally came, this is what the defense team brought, which was next to nothing. In my eyes, of course.
There was no chance that he was going to be acquitted of all of these charges. I think he knew that. The defense that John's lawyers brought was weak.
Yeah, it was very weak. John's lawyer dragged on and brought up no valid points to prove that War Machine was innocent.
I had a real hard time following the defense attorney as he gave his opening statement. And as you all saw, even the DA got frustrated.
I think we all did, Ralph.
So, after all of that, War Machine was convicted on 29 of the 34 charges. Ralph, do you think that John is guilty of those charges?
I have to say, I'm unsure about the facts about this trial. I started out neutral, hoping to find the truth. As the old saying goes, there are 2 sides to every story. Christy Mack gave her side, Corey gave his, and practically everyone else got on the witness stand and said what they had to say. Everyone except for War Machine himself. I really wish that he would have gotten on the witness stand and gave his side of the story.
But you know, it doesn't always work that way, Ralph.
I know that, but if there ever was a time for the accused to get on the stand and say his piece, this would have been that time, especially since the 2 victims are saying one thing and the accused is saying something else. And if War Machine thinks that he didn't get justice and that he didn't get a fair trial, that's his own fault. War Machine was the one that chose to hide behind a lawyer that rambled on about nothing instead of growing some balls and getting up on the stand and giving his version of what happened.
At the trial, War Machine acted cool. But at the hearing, War Machine acted like a douchebag. He was blowing kisses to the DA. And he was laughing when Christy Mack was giving her side of the story. And that's not how someone acts when they are being wrongfully accused of a crime like this.
So, do you think he's really guilty of all these charges?
Based on what I saw at the trial, yes. John Koppenhaver is obviously a dangerous man, and therefore he needs to be locked away.
My take on it is, since the defense team did such a horrible job on this case, and for him to be convicted on only 29 of the charges, it's like they're being rewarded for their efforts.
Effort? You call that an effort?
That was their strategy.
Well, that strategy didn't work out well for them if they were trying to get him off.
No, it didn't. But based on watching the trial here on YouTube, I think War Machine was trying to kill both Christy and Thomas. Therefore, he should have been convicted on the 2 attempted murder charges, in my opinion.
John Koppenhaver, War Machine, is a dangerous man. That much is obvious from watching this trial, and he should not be let out into society. And in about 30 years, when War Machine is released, we have to wonder and worry, is he going to do this to someone else?
So, you're saying that he needs to be locked away forever?
Exactly.
Alright, so everybody has given their opinion about this War Machine situation. I mean, we could go on and on about this. There are so many issues related to this. The bottom line is, John Koppenhaver, aka War Machine, has been convicted on 29 of the 34 charges, and he will be doing some time in prison. How much time? Well, I guess we'll find out in June. Okay, so let's wrap it up right here. Jaguars, peace out till later.